depending on where you're migrating from, disability may be negatively labeled. And that can force you to live in hiding. So this program, the Honor Ramirez Jr. Initiative, is kind of helping these people get out of their shadow.
As the Ramirez June Developmental Disabilities Navigator, I lead the ONA Ramirez June Initiative, and its mission is to build capacity to increase access to developmental disability services for new Americans in New York State. New Americans refers to someone who is born outside of the U.S. who lives inside the U.S. In New York State, about 1 in 4 New Yorkers are new Americans, meaning they're born outside of the U.S.
The New York State Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, OPWDD, provides services to New Yorkers with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have an incredible network of not-for-profit providers and really amazing partnerships with families, self-advocates, and people with disabilities. Our incredible network of developmental disability services allows us to provide services to over 126,000 New Yorkers with disabilities and to their families. When we look at our data, we see that there is a lot of diversity represented, a lot of racial and ethnic diversity and linguistic diversity represented in who we are serving. At the same time, we know that there is a greater demand on our system for more people of diverse backgrounds to access OPWDD services.
The Ramirez June Initiative is so exciting. It really provides an opportunity for us to tap into the deep knowledge that exists in the Office for New Americans in order to be able to start to break down some of the barriers that exist in a very real way throughout the state in various communities where individuals who come from a whole array of countries and come to this country with family members who have developmental disabilities, they may not know what services are out there. There are lots of pieces to the equation in terms of how do you get services. And the language barriers for many individuals who come from other countries, and also the cultural differences are very real as well.
The Ramirez June Initiative is named after 2 new American families who have faced barriers and overcame challenges to access developmental disability services. Both families had a connection with the Office for New Americans and with the Council on Developmental Disabilities, who funds the Ramirez June Initiative and is our partner for it. The Ramirez family is from Oaxaca, Mexico, as is their ONA Executive Director, Dr. Laura Gonzalez Murphy, and they both grew up in Latham, New York. So Laura's sons went to school with the Ramirez family, and then she saw through the school some of the challenges they faced.
I just observed a lot of what their additional barriers were for them that were different to my own children, right? Even though we were both immigrants, there were situations where I saw they needed additional support, which, you think is understandable given that they had, the family itself were facing disability barrier.
People who are new to the States like I was, it's hard to find services. You don't know who to talk to, where to go to. And when you have somebody with special needs, you kind of feel alone. What else can you do? It's hard to balance work with your sleep and at the same time trying to help them. So I believe that it's very important to have these services that can help individuals like Humberto.
One of the intentions of the Ramirez June Initiative and what it encompasses is that being able to breach that lack of information that we realized was part of the families with developmental disabilities. But we figured from our observations of the families this program is named at, that lack of knowledge of what was their right or even of how to get to access certain rights was significant.
Juling Lum, or June, was a member of our cultural competency work group, and she was a tireless advocate for her family and her kids. But when she shared about her specific experience, she talked about it taking years to access disability services, and a lot of that having to do with language access barriers or navigating a very, a complex system.
Government system have a lot of helping for the DD family and DD kid, but I don't know how to get in that system. I hope our voice, our culture, our no English parent, the voice can be here for we need help.
Because she was such a strong member of our cultural competency work group that I really thought, wouldn't it be great if her name was on this initiative as well?
Voyage was really inspired by June's story and the need to have more information accessible in different languages about the early identification of disabilities. We wanted to make a resource that was more accessible for new American communities, so we created Voyage, which is a multilingual illustrated resource book, and it has information from the CDC's Learn the Signs, Act Early campaign. So it has information about developmental milestones, which are things that most children can do by a certain age. Each copy of Voyage is bilingual, so one page will be in English and the other page will have the same content in a second language like Spanish or simplified Chinese. And there are 10 different language versions available. Over 4,000 copies have been mailed of Voyage by both the Office for New Americans and the Council on Children and Families.
Last month, I ordered lots of the booklets from your website in Chinese, which is very valuable. This is wonderful because the parents can follow the instruction to monitor the baby's development milestone. This is what I missed when I was my child. I'm a first-time parent. I have no idea what to do. Maybe some families notice something unusual on the babies, and they can get the earlier diagnosis.
So I grew up in China. When I was young, like a 20-something, I feel very disappointed with the future there. So I got a scholarship in America, one of the college. After finish, I got a job. Then year 2008, me and my wife became the citizen. So I'm just like a very typical immigrant family until that we have our own first child, which is Vincent, is my son, who is 24 years now. He have autism, so that's why I'm helping advocate for my son for many years. I'm basically the parent member on the Development Disability Council. As a parent member, we try to bring up the concern issue as every caregiver with development disability children has it. I'm one of them. So whatever I have the problem, I bring up the council. The second role I have is I'm also a member of the Asian American immigrant community.
Originally from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is this huge land located at the center of Central Africa. Got out of there in 1998 because of a civil war that broke out, and so many people died, millions. I was just one of those few people who were lucky to escape. And then we applied to come to the US, some of us for medical safety, some of us for just finding a safe place. It was a challenge coming to a new landscape when you don't know anyone. That's a big challenge. Number two, I spoke some English with accent. I still have accent, of course, but I could hardly understand people. And of course, people could hardly understand me. So language was a challenge. It can be an easy process. If you have a family member with disability, you can learn how to navigate the system. But if you come here, you don't understand how to navigate the system, you don't have the language, it can be a big challenge. So I see this program, the Honor Ramirez Jr. Initiative, really getting the information out, specifically to new Americans. Unfortunately, in my area, in my country, Congo, DRC, you don't see any services for people with disabilities. The Ramirez Jr. Initiative program and all of the services that we have within New York State that serve people with disabilities, those are non-existent.
We host workshops through the Ramirez Jr. Initiative, both for immigrant and disability service providers and directly for new American communities. And we often get feedback from the community that, this is their first time having access to this information in their language. Between November 2019 and July 2023, we've hosted 115 workshops and have engaged 3,500 people in these outreach events. The Ramirez June Initiative is advancing systemic change to increase access for new Americans, but systemic change can be slow. Though we've made progress, we see that there is an urgent need for enhanced support at the local level to assist new Americans to access the services that they need to support their health, safety, and well-being. So we partnered with the Chinese American Planning Council in Brooklyn, New York, Sunset Park area to host the ONA Bilingual Coordinator Program. This program provides bilingual case management services to connect the local new American community with the developmental disability and mental health services that they need.
The Bilingual Coordinator Program is a case management program who support referral and assist parents or individuals with intellectual disability and developmental disability, or they might similarly have mental health issue, to get referral, get their services, and make sure their needs be met. As a result, we're not just helping people get OPWD eligibility, and specifically as an owner bilingual coordinator program, we are helping them to connect with the OPWDD front door team, services team, and the regional office to give any feedback or asking any questions.
Community-based organizations like the Chinese American Planning Council are the ones who are doing the work in a very local way. They understand the nuance and specific cultural and linguistic needs of the communities that they are serving. And so community-based organizations, because they're the ones doing the culturally and linguistically responsive work, are necessary to help government implement those practices into policies, protocols, and overall move the system towards one that can be more equitable, respectful, and responsive to the needs of the incredible diversity that we see in New York State.
I think in this country and certainly in New York State, we're at the forefront of promoting inclusion and full integration in every way.
Once we put as ONA, Office for New American, they feel that this is the office for them because they are new immigrant. I know that sometimes name doesn't matter, but to some people, name does matter. They are new American. Their child also is new American. This is office for them.
It's worth it to go through the process because it makes a big change in the individual's life. As you can see right here, Humberto is very engaged in the community. If we did it, you can do it too. You're not alone, even though you feel like that. There are a lot of nice people here who care and are willing and able to help.
In order for access to developmental disabilities to be equitable, for new Americans to have access, we need to continue the work that we're doing. We've made a lot of progress, but a lot of work still needs to be done. And what's really essential is collaboration with community-based organizations, with new American communities and state agencies, because no one person, no one agency can help overcome these challenges by themselves.
New York State is highly diverse. When you look at different data sources, we're highly diverse. So we need to really bring in navigators that reflect our diversity.